What is up, everybody? This is an episode dedicated to privilege. I wanted to go ahead and take this time to sort of mention um, a little something about what I think privilege is and things along that level. And I can't do that without acknowledging a death. Now, if you've seen my older videos, you know that one of the few reasons why I don't like acknowledging a specific death is because it's really easy for me to, you know, say so and so has died, and somebody else will say, yeah, well, what about the other people who died, And now it just turned into a whole thing. So, in order to try to prevent that from happening, I try my best not to even mention deaths. But in this case, Michael K. Williams' death is kind of a big important part of this. And the big reason why is because um, it's just, it kind of puts it into perspective. Okay, first off, just want to put this out here. I've never seen The Wire before. Never seen one episode of The Wire. The Wire came up on HBO, and I was poor. We were poor people. We didn't have money for HBO. We were even lucky to get cable. Um, but I remember people used to type up Omar coming all the time. That was the thing, and that was I remember knowing who Michael K. Williams was briefly because he played a handful of other roles, but I never knew his name. And then one day he was Montrose in Lovecraft Country, and I'm like, that's the Identity Crisis guy. And the reason why I say Identity Crisis is because he did this video where he did the crop clone thing where you can clone. If you have a stable camera, you can literally clone things in a video and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of cool. And here he is playing like about 4 or 5 different people of himself discussing being typecasted. And it's like, being typecast is kind of like one of those identity crisis moments. But in any case, though, I remember him from that, and I just remember thinking, this is a really good actor. This dude is a good actor, because I knew that Omar was a gangster, but then you play Montrose, who is this not timid, but really, really, really messed up guy. You have like all these roles that Michael K. Williams has played, and those are the big ones that I remember. The world of fiction and creativity lost a very, very, very talented practitioner in this man. And it goes without saying that everybody who was a fan of his has something to say about it. Specifically, Akon. Now, this episode is still about privilege. Akon mentions that like those who are in abundance have a little bit more difficult than those who are impoverished. Now, with this issue is, kind of like lukewarm now. I like to strike while the iron is cold because in the time of it happening till now, stuff could have happened, but by then, So part of me was just sort of like, also I do my videos on Mondays anyway, but like one thing you really gotta take into consideration is that like this guy had like all this time to basically just walk back what he said because it's really easy to disagree with. Once again, those in abundance are in abundance. You can choose to live the impoverished life. The worst thing that can happen to a rich person, in my opinion, is them being bored. Because a bored rich person will do some dangerous things. Like nobody is like people who say the phrase "I do what I want to do" will easily kind of use that as an excuse to do some of the worst things they could think of. You never seen somebody go "I do what I want" and start up a homeless shelter, in the form of an apartment. You never see somebody go "I do what I want to do" and challenge white supremacy. People say "I do what I want to do" and then go play in traffic. Like my complaint when it comes to what Akon said was that like, you know, it's easily challenged, and is remarkably tone deaf because in the time that he said it till now, you have like all of these. You have the Met Gala, which I still have no clue what the Met Gala is. It just comes across as a place where rich people go to just show off that they spent a lot of money on robot looking outfits. Is like, I mean, if you were to look at all of these Met Gala outfits, do you honestly think that you can afford to get one? If you wanted to look like your favorite star at the Met Gala, could you buy that dress or that shirt or those pants or whatever? It's just like it's basically rich people cosplay. At the end of the day, and it just comes across as a bit obnoxious. You know what I'm saying? You got like all of these rich people, just sort of getting together during COVID, no less. You need to understand, like, that's the part that we also need to take into consideration. We're still in a pandemic, like the pandemic is not going away. As a matter of fact, it's getting worse if you live in like certain states like Florida, Mississippi. And this is wild because this is what is happening right now. There's a bit of there's a disconnect here between rich people and poor people. And now you have Akon, a rich guy who is apparently in the process of making his own city in Senegal, saying that being rich is like, and I understand what he was trying to say. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. You know what I'm saying? It can be a bit stressful because it's like, the more you make, the more A, the more they take, and the more B, the more stuff you have to do to retain it. I get that. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you could be rich and do nothing and stay rich. Although, that's exactly what it can be like sometimes. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's like, there is a certain amount of money that you can make in America and just never work again. It happens. It's possible. Especially if you're good with money. Like, I'm pretty sure if you gave me $1 billion, I could live off that $1 billion. I mean, look at how I live. I live pretty simply. I don't require much. So it's like, if you gave me $1 billion, I'm pretty sure the most I spend out of that is like at least a good 500,000. Unless, of course, inflation drives the price up on everything, and then I have to use the whole billion. Speaking of inflation, like, I always find it kind of weird. I'm staring off here, but like, I always find it kind of weird that a nation that can make its own money can't just print out the money to pay the national debt. Something about value, and I hate the word value because it's made up. It's a made up concept. It's like basically how much somebody thinks something is worth. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, this is worth this much. Well, how do you know? Oh, because I'm an expert on value. It's like, okay, what makes you an expert? Well, I just know, That's what it ultimately kind of boils down to me, and I don't value that at all. I'm staring off though, but that's what I'm saying though. It's just like being rich. Rich people are starting to kind of see themselves as victims, and it's like, because my whole thing is, if you can choose to be poor, you're not poor. And I would love for there to be a moment. I would love, and I'm screaming to the heavens, if, can there be a show where rich people have to live like a poor person for like a month? Just to sort of bridge that gap here. You get like, you can even appoint a poor person to them to sort of help them out through this. You know what I mean? Like, they have to start with $0. $0. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure, like, because my whole thing is that, like, if they have amazing enough work ethic, shouldn't they be able to shoot for the moon again? Can't they just remake that money? It's like, why is this not a concept, man? I would love to see, because it's like a reality show. You're gonna see like a whole bunch of people. Like, I feel like if you had Mitch McConnell work, like, I can imagine, like, if Mitch McConnell had to start from $0, he just shut down. He would just like shut down. Like, nothing would. He just, and like Donald Trump would probably be the serial killer. But it's like, I'm trying to think, like, I'm trying to think about like a lot of black rich people, know what it's like to be poor. So it's like they'll probably have an idea how to survive while being poor. But like if I had to guess, yeah, Donald Trump would probably be a serial killer. But what I'm saying though is that like we do need to bridge that gap because, you got like these red carpet events, which in my opinion I just think that they're dumb. Like even when I was a kid, I used to think that red carpet events were kind of like flashy and gaudy and didn't really make sense because it was just, hey, it's rich people parading in expensive clothes, which is dope, but it's like there's a screen between us. I can't talk to these people. I can't say, hey, nice shirt. You know, it is weird. I'm not necessarily saying that there needs to be a huge connect between rich people and poor people, but if rich people are thinking that their struggles are much more dangerous than somebody who has to literally choose between food and gas on the last $20 of their paycheck, then there's got to be some kind of connection here. But that's about it. This video is going on too long anyway. Love and peace. Y'all have a good one. Be safe out there. Keep your eyes on the skies because hopefully that meteor from Catalyst Prime is going to be here and give us all our superpowers. By the way, I talked about Catalyst Prime comics in my podcast. I'm going to have that listed below so you can give it a listen. Love, peace, and safety, y'all.